All right, so this is a suggestion via a channel member. Guys, let's check it out.
Just as House Democrats are raising concerns that ICE might be hiring pardoned January 6th rioters, our next guest went through the agency's recruitment process as an undercover journalist. And her experience suggests something that might be even scarier. ICE's recruitment push is so sloppy that the administration effectively has no idea who's joining the agency's ranks. Joining me now is that journalist and author of the Substack Firewalled Media, Laura Jadid. Laura, your plan was never to become an ICE agent, but just to apply for the job.
Okay. Let's encounter this.
What stood out to you when you went to the ICE Career Expo in Texas?
Well, the expo was all I was intending to write about, and a few things just from that. It was very empty.
This is about to
there
be
weren't a lot
wild,
of people there.
Let's
they seemed to
this.
expect a lot more people than showed up. The venue was far too big for the number of people there were. And the interview itself took about 6 minutes. I've been accused online a bit of lying by omission, and for that to have happened, they would have had to ask me more questions. They asked me questions like my name, my date of birth, how old I am. They took my resume, which was 100% accurate, and they said that I would hear back. I didn't expect to hear back because I have a very unique name, and the minute you type that name into any computer, it becomes immediately obvious that I'm not an ideal recruit. I'm a journalist. I am very clear online about how I feel about ICE, about how I feel about the Trump administration. So I didn't expect to hear back from them.
I believe that. Let me tell you something, guys. Right? I believed that before you even started speaking. It's just like, I don't know. I can't explain it, guys. Like the vibe that I got, the energy, everything in it. I knew everything I needed to know, if that makes any sense.
Again.
But you did hear back from them, right? And I wonder if there was. I wonder if there's anything beside that you witnessed that's, in addition to doing this 6-minute interview. I mean, I would think, again, they would look at criminal background. They would look at employment history. They would look at, do you have any history of drug use? I mean, I can think of a lot of things that almost any place you would go to in the federal government or in most private sector jobs would want to know.
What is MS now?
What did you see they were doing?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those the dog that didn't bark things. It's what they weren't doing. And those are the questions they weren't asking. They seemed uninterested in that sort of thing. It really was kind of just we're going to get you in process. We're going to get your application. We're going to get this demographic data, your basic information. We're going to run it through, and then we'll process it as fast as we can. And they said they were prioritizing law enforcement first, so I might not hear back right away. But people were getting same-day offers. So, it seems like this is a systemic thing. It seems like they're very incurious about the people who are applying. And the people who are applying seemed like a rather incurious bunch as well. I talked to an ICE agent. That was not part of the interview. That was optional for me later if I wanted to just get a feel for the job. And there was no line for that. Now, there weren't a lot of people there anyway. There weren't a lot of lines for anything. But nobody seemed particularly interested in doing that. When there was a Q&A, everybody was very curious about the training. But people didn't have a lot of questions about the job. It's just odd.
So ultimately, when you heard back from them, what was it?
So I missed the initial email because I wasn't expecting it. Again, I expected them to Google me, and they didn't. A few days later, they sent a tentative job offer. And with that tentative job offer, they sent a bunch of paperwork that I would need to fill out for consideration. I would need to accept the tentative job offer. I needed to fill out paperwork saying I'd never been convicted of violence. I needed to fill out paperwork for background check information. I needed to sign an affidavit that I could pass a PT test, all of this stuff. None of which I did because I didn't see it. And yet, apparently the application advanced anyway, because a couple weeks later, I got an email from LabCorp saying, hey, come and take a drug test for ICE. And I was pretty sure that wasn't going to work out well. Cannabis is legal in New York State, and I had partaken of it 6 days before their test date. But, why not? I went ahead and took the test anyway. And then 9 days after I took that test, because they're supposed to call you when you fail. So I was curious, did I somehow pass this test? So I logged into the ICE hiring portal and was shocked to find that the ICE hiring portal listed me as having a final offer, as having accepted that final offer, and as having a start date of September 30th, which was 3 days before I checked the portal.
Okay, so that's really not that surprising, guys. I mean, based off of that, at least here. If what you're saying is you definitely partake in, let's say specifically in the greenery, right? And your literal license and documentation dictate that you are coming from that state, New York State, where it's legal. So why would they then penalize you for doing something that is legal, specifically in the state that you're in? So as of right now, I'm not really seeing any or hearing anything like specifically mind-blowingly crazy here.
Oh, that's different than what DHS says when they posted just now a response to your story on X. And they wrote this, quote, applicants may receive a tentative selection letter following their initial application and interview that is not a job offer. It just means they are invited to submit information for review. But what you're saying is, even though you ignored it, they were ready to hire you with a start date, whole thing?
Yep. No, this is, and I went ahead and quote tweeted and replied with a video of a screen capture of what I saw when I logged into that ICE portal. What I saw was a final job offer, a start date, and a little thing that said, welcome to ICE. They can try to hide this all they want, but this was not a tentative selection letter. This was a final offer and a start date for a role as a deportation officer. And it's very funny that they hired a journalist who openly despises their program. That's fine.
Yeah, and that's why it's really hard for me to believe anything you're saying, right? Like, I mean, I'm just gonna be honest here. I'm not saying that I'm specifically going to immediately believe the government by any means here, right? But if you're openly saying that you have a direct bias, right, and you are in fact a journalist and you have an X account and you're you have a microphone right here, right? I'm guessing you do things for social media, right? So if you think that I'm going to immediately believe your perspective, it's not gonna. No, it's not gonna happen, bro. Right? You're blatantly admitting that you hate ICE. You basically hate the federal government. That's what it sounds like here. Very un-American. Nothing American about what she's saying here at all, really. Truthfully, my opinion here. And so, with me seeing and realizing these things, what makes you think that I believe you? You already have a deep-seated bias towards the system, right? But either way, let's continue. That's like asking me to review pickles, onions, New Jersey or California. Don't do that, guys.
But what's disturbing is we don't know how many other people this happened to. It seems unlikely that it was just me. We don't know who's wearing these masks with guns in our city. We don't know if they have violence convictions. We don't know if the people who are manning deportation centers, detention centers, have been convicted of sex crimes or crimes against. These are people that will neither be believed nor missed. I mean, the more you think about it, the worse it gets.
So we're almost out of time, but today does mark 1 week since the death of Renee Good. And just yesterday, we had reporting about ICE ramming into a U.S. citizen's vehicle in an alleged racial profiling incident. All these agents, as DHS posted on X, have federal immunity in the conduct of their duties. That's their claim. They have federal immunity. After this experience, how concerning do you find that?
I mean, it would be concerning even if they were vetting ICE officers. The idea of absolute immunity is un-American and definitely against the law and terrifying. The idea that you can do whatever you want if you get this position. But it is even worse when we think about the fact that most of these people may not have been vetted at all. It is very possible, something that should at least be investigated, I feel. This is an emergency. We have people on the streets wearing masks with guns, terrorizing, brutalizing, and now murdering people. This is an emergency. And frankly, it's past time the state governors called up the National Guard or had the law enforcement officers defend their constituents against what I'm going to go ahead and call people terrorizing our cities.
Laura Jadid with some unbelievable.
Yeah, okay. So I wonder if she is calling the same people that are out here literally like breaking glass, attempting to break into buildings, burning things on the street, just overall riotous type of behavior. I wonder if she's calling those people the same things that she's calling the others, right? I mean, the contradictions are a little interesting here, guys. I mean, generally, you guys don't send me anything this deep, kind of, deep. Let me say it like 10 more times, guys. That deep into like AOC territory, guys, right? But we're here. We encountered this. I don't believe any of it. Don't get me wrong here. if we were actually encountering like a I don't know, like a non-biased type of person, or slightly less biased potentially, I'd be like, okay, maybe we have something here. But now if stories start coming out where this is something that has basically been happening, then I'll say, you know what, hold on, listen guys, I mean, maybe this is a thing and we need to kind of reevaluate things. But until then, this is one singular story, all right, from a bias opinion, at least like a super biased opinion. And again, I generally like things that are closer to the middle, at least a little bit, right? If that makes any sense here. One of you guys pointed out federal immunity. Yeah, I mean, federal immunity specifically is like a catch-all, maybe. I mean, it kind of gives everyone, for the most part, similar to qualified immunity, right? But there's a certain level where that immediately goes away and it becomes moderately irrelevant, right? And I think those times are when you are openly, blatantly violating someone's constitutional rights. I mean, yeah, well, you just said that. Exactly, right. I mean, so yeah, that's really what it is here. Like that only matters until you are like violating someone's rights. And same thing with qualified immunity. Guys, do you want to watch movies with me? I never actually thought to like promote it over here, guys. But if you guys do want to watch it, guys, we have hundreds of movies, and I mean hundreds of movies that we've reacted to. You guys can come watch them with me if you want to, along with many TV shows. Currently, we're working on the show Dexter, along with Vikings, and we have a lot of series that are already completed. But if you guys do want to watch it with me, the link is in the description. Everything's available at the second tier. But of course, if that's not your thing, guys, don't worry. Right? Listen, like and subscribe.